Hello and welcome. My name is Susan from Susan's World of Yoga, and today I wanted to go through a really basic yoga position called Tabletop, which is simply being on the hands and knees. But I wanted to go through pointers and tips to help get good alignment, to also help with strengthening the wrists and making sure that we don't damage the shoulders, and so that we're really engaging the body and getting it working in the right way, because this is a really good foundation pose from which we develop and move into other postures. So first of all, we're just going to say come onto the hands and knees. So bring the hands under shoulders, knees under the hips. And the first thing I would usually say in a yoga class is separate the hands so they're directly underneath the shoulders. And that means actually looking at them and checking, is there a straight line from shoulder to the wrists? What we don't want is the hands too close together or too wide apart. We want those wrists directly under the shoulders. Likewise with the knees, we're stacking the hip joint right above the knee joint, so those thigh bones are directly straight. So if I face you, those knees are like this, those thigh bones are straight. So that is the first thing that I would say. Now looking at the hands, what is important here is to actually spread the fingers out wide. What is quite common for me to see in yoga classes is hands that are slightly cupped and you're actually resting on the wrist joints. And something that, if you're new to yoga, that can happen quite a lot is a lot of wrist pain or uncomfortableness through the wrists when you first start. So to help with preventing this, and also to make sure you're not putting too much pressure on the wrists themselves, is to actually spread the weight across the palms so that you're really pressing sort of this part of the hand into the floor and the bases of the fingers and spreading the hands out wide. You want those middle fingers pointing forwards and the rest of the fingers really spanning out from there. It's like you're really creating sort of roots that you're pressing down into the ground, but it's almost like a little suction cup. You're sort of sucking your hands down onto the ground. And what this will do is prevent too much pressure on the actual wrist itself. Fantastic. So that's where the hands will be. Now thinking about the arms, we want the arms to be straight, but what we don't want to do is hyperextend into the joints. So some of you might find that you are hypermobile and you'll find that those elbow creases naturally point forwards or even go any further. We want to draw the elbow creases to face each other so that the arms are straight and supported, and essentially I'm not hanging in those joints, okay? Sometimes even a little bend can feel better and actually be better for the muscles and the joints. If you are hypermobile, actually just coming out of the joints slightly will feel like you're bending your arms, but in fact it is slightly better for your joints and it means the arms are straight. Okay, so spreading the fingers wide, wrists under shoulders, arms straight, elbow creases pointing towards each other. And I'm actively pushing the floor away. I'm not sinking into the shoulders here. So there's a difference between doing this and doing this and pushing the floor away. So the upper back is active. And in fact, by activating hands into the floor, activating the arms, pushing the floor away, what I'm doing as I spread those shoulder blades wide is I'm actually engaging the upper body and I'm strengthening it. So you may find this actually becomes a bit like hard work after a few breaths. Good, good. The other thing is now the head. The head doesn't want to hang down here. We also don't want it right up here. The neck is an extension of the spine. We want to be gazing down towards the mat, perhaps just to where the fingertips are. It's like we're holding on to an apple or a tennis ball just underneath our chin, so our neck is long. Good. Pushing the floor away, long neck, and of course a straight flat back. So what we don't do is arch the back and sink into it here. Upper back is engaged, lower back is engaged, tummy button pushes up, it pulls up towards the spine. So everything is slightly engaged. So we don't let the tummy hang, we don't let the back dip, we engage everything here. Knees are already positioned underneath the hips, so these are straight. The final thing is just having a look at the toes at the back there. We don't want the toes in towards each other or the ankles moving any sort of way. What we want is a straight line. We want these shins parallel and also the feet parallel, so not letting the heels or the ankles sickle in any way. So you can always just have a little check, you can just have a look around as you do this, just to make sure that everything is where it should be. And this is a really good, strong base position from which we do lots of other things. A common thing would be perhaps to take a leg out and lift an arm out, for example, or lift legs up, or come into thread needles, or even transition into downward facing dog, for example. But this base position, this tabletop, is kind of important to really think about the positioning, because when it becomes second nature, what you're actually doing is strengthening arms, wrists, backs, cores, and learning to subtly adjust, subtly notice where the body is, so that your hands are positioned correctly for things like downward dog, for things like plank, which actually put slightly more stress on the body because they're stronger postures that will use core muscles more, or lengthen the hamstrings more, or do various different things to the body. So the main thing is that I hope that these few pointers and tips that I've gone through today kind of help you with this tabletop position, which is something that you'll probably find in nearly every yoga class that I teach, whether we just quickly transition through it or we do things from this position. Even just simple hip circles and cat and cow position, they come from this foundation position. So when we're doing yoga, it's really important to spend some time really getting some of these foundation poses sitting right with our body, so that firstly we're looking after the body, the shoulder girdles, the wrist joints, and we're not creating any more sort of underlying problems, and then we can build strength, gain flexibility, and get all of the wonderful benefits of yoga as we build and build upon our practice. So thank you very much for watching this video. If you have any questions about the information I've covered, or you wish to ask me anything in general about yoga, you can always contact me via my Facebook page, via email, susan@susansworld.co.uk, or have a little browse through my website for all the stuff that I do, susansworldofyoga.co.uk. Thank you for watching.